Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we are diving into something that, let's be honest, we've all felt. Failure. You know that sinking feeling when things just don't go the way you planned? It could be a test, a big project at work, anything. It's something we all go through, but man, it feels so heavy, so personal.
But have you ever really stopped to ask yourself why? Why are we so terrified of getting it wrong? I mean, this isn't just a small worry for a lot of us. It's a deep, powerful fear that can literally stop us in our tracks and keep us from taking the very risks that help us grow.
Well, it all starts when we're kids, right? From our first report card to our first performance review, we're pretty much taught that the outcome is everything. The world tells us that one result can define who we are. You're either smart or you're not, a success or a failure. That idea gets planted deep inside us, and today we're going to figure out how to pull it out by the roots.
So, if we're going to change our relationship with failure, we first have to get real about what we're actually afraid of. It's not just about the bad grade or the project that flopped, it's about all the heavy emotional stuff that comes along for the ride. So, what's the official take on this? Well, the American Psychological Association calls it a persistent and irrational anxiety. And when that fear really takes hold, it can be totally paralyzing. We start avoiding things, procrastinating, we basically shut down. The fear itself ends up creating the very outcome we were so scared of in the first place.
And this is where it really hits home. It's not just about our own standards. As this research points out, a huge piece of this puzzle is social. We're terrified of being embarrassed, of feeling like we're not good enough, and maybe the biggest one of all, we're scared of disappointing the people who believe in us, our family, our friends. That's a heavy weight to carry.
Now, for some folks, that pressure is on a whole other level. Can you imagine feeling like your performance isn't just about you? That if you stumble, it could somehow confirm a negative stereotype about an entire group you belong to? That's the crushing weight of what's called stereotype threat. The stakes feel impossibly high, which turns any potential mistake into something massive.
Okay, so let's get into the psychology of why we get so stuck in this fear. A researcher at Stanford, Carol Dweck, did some absolutely groundbreaking work on something she calls mindsets. These are the fundamental beliefs we have about our own smarts and our own abilities. And this brings us to this really crucial idea, the fixed mindset versus the growth mindset. If you have a fixed mindset, you basically believe your talent and intelligence are set in stone. You've got what you've got, and that's it. But with a growth mindset, you believe your abilities can be built, that they can be developed through hard work. This one belief, it changes everything. It's the difference between seeing a challenge as a threat or as an opportunity.
Now, here's the really wild part about the fixed mindset. This totally backward logic it has about effort. If you believe talent is just something you're born with, then having to try hard feels like proof that you don't actually have it. It makes you feel dumb. And this is one of the most damaging beliefs out there because it makes really smart people just give up when things get tough.
But here's the good news. There is a way out of this trap. And the whole idea of the growth mindset isn't just some feel-good philosophy. It's actually rooted in the incredible science of our own brains. And this one single fact has the power to completely reshape how we think about intelligence and, in turn, how we think about failure. The science for this is called neuroplasticity. Basically, when you challenge yourself, when you learn something new, your brain actually forms new connections. You're not just learning stuff, you're literally changing the physical wiring of your brain, making it stronger. So intelligence isn't something you are, it's something you build. In this quote, wow, it's from a middle schooler right after they learned about this idea, and it just says everything, doesn't it? You mean I don't have to be dumb? You can just feel the weight lifting in those words. It's this moment of pure freedom, realizing you're not stuck and that you have the power to grow. So if a setback isn't some final judgment on how smart you are, then what is it? Well, to answer that, let's borrow a really powerful idea from the business world that can help us reframe these moments in our own lives. In the world of startups, there's this term called a pivot. And a pivot is not seen as a failure at all. In fact, it's seen as a smart strategic move. It's when a company realizes, hey, this path isn't working, and they use the data they've gathered to change direction. And that is the absolute key. The information you get when something doesn't work, that's gold. It's not a dead end, it's feedback. A failure is just data telling you to adjust your course.
It's the fuel for your next better attempt. And we can use this exact same process in our own lives. It's pretty simple. First, you analyze. Look at what happened honestly, without judgment. What worked, what didn't. Then you identify. Okay, based on that, where's the new opportunity? And finally, you shift. You redirect your energy and your focus toward that new, more informed goal. It turns a moment of frustration into a moment of strategy.
Okay, so let's land the plane here. How do we take these big ideas, the growth mindset, the power of a strategic pivot, and actually put them to work in our own lives, like starting right now?
So here's what it all boils down to. Remember, failure isn't a verdict on you. It's just data. Know that every single time you push yourself through something hard, you are literally making your brain stronger. So actively choose to embrace those challenges. And when things don't go to plan, don't panic. Pivot. And finally, learn to value the process, the effort itself, not just the final result, because that's where all the real growth happens. So I'll leave you with this question to chew on. Think about a recent setback you've had. With everything we've talked about, how can you look at it differently now? What was the valuable data it gave you? And what failure are you going to reframe as the starting line for your next, smarter first attempt?